गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Bhagavad Gita. We are in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse number 28. And we are seeing how the Lord prompted everyone or others or seekers to correct their understanding and vision. And there he told, अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो माम ये जना पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेम वहाम्यहम्. He is impressing on our mind that we must think about him to the exclusion of everything else, because he is the ultimate, he is the substratum, he is the supporter from within and without. And therefore, if you think about him, he will yogakshema vahamyaham, he will take care of you and he will fulfill all your desires, and that is only possible when we are single-pointedly focused on him. Single-pointedly focused on him, what does it mean? Does it mean that you stop functioning in life? No. So what does it mean?
Just think about him all the time. Take it as he's the one who is performing through you.
Correct. So,
every aspect of life.
So just like when we live our daily life, in the background we have the thought of being responsible for the family, being responsible for the children, being responsible for the wife or the husband, etc., etc. And that is the motivating factor in the light of which we perform all the actions, isn't it? So right now it is for my family, my duty, my company, my job, my children, my grandchildren. The Lord is saying, Ananyaschintayanto mam. Leave everything in my light, do all the activities, or let all activities happen. So in the background all the time his thought must be there, and then quite a few verses that how people, even though I am the only substratum, people do not recognize that, and all that was told. And here in the 27th verse it was told, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. So see, he is bringing first he said ananyas chintayanto mam. Where is chinta? Where is contemplation? Where is the focus? Where is single pointedness? In the mind. Now he is coming down to the body level, to the doing level. Yat karoshi, whatever you do. Yad ashnasi, whatever you eat. Yad juhosi, yad dadasi yat, whatever you sacrifice. Whatever penance you do, Arjuna, offer that to me. See, even third chapter, fourth chapter, there it was told, second chapter it was told, Karmanyeva dhikaraste, do the action but do not expect the result. Third chapter it was told that as a result of that purification, the understanding came that there is a higher power, there is someone else, it's not me who is doing the actions at the thought, word and speech level. What is that? Thought, word and deed level. They are happening. Who is this fellow? And from that moment on, then you realize that all these actions between the first and the second, you start understanding that your actions are, and there is no action called good and bad action. Your attitude behind the action determines an action to be good or bad. See? So what is the best attitude? The best attitude is Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. It is an attitude. It is a disposition that you keep remember. A cool, calm disposition which is ever aware of the hand of the divine expressing through behind all your words, or expressing through your words, through your mind, through your actions. And therefore here it was told that if that is difficult, you can come down to this level. That at the level of activity, so whether you are doing tapasya, whether you are eating, whether you are doing something, whether you are sacrificing something, or you are doing any meditation, japa sadhana, study of scriptures right now in a satsang, this is also tapasya. This is also sacrifice on my part, that I am expending energy. On your part, it is a tapasya. You have to sit and listen. But we must not take an individual standpoint here. We must see that it is the play of the divine, how he is functioning at this moment. Now coming to the next one. Another thing he told in the last class, that to invoke me, you don't need much to do. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahrutam ashnami prayatatmanah. That merely by patram pushpam phalam toyam, you don't have to do elongated rituals to propitiate me. If you have, you must do it. If you have the capacity, you must do it. But if you can't, and without puja, how can I remember the Lord? Without taking bath, how can I remember the Lord? Without doing this? No. Wherever you are, however you are, patram is a leaf, pushpam is a flower, phalam is a fruit, toyam is a little bit of water, patram pushpam phalam toyam. By just offering this to me, you can invoke me. That's all. So when we go to the ocean or the rivers, we take the water, Om Bhurbo Swaha. We don't offer anything else. We just do the arghya, isn't it? When we go to the temple, we take the coconut or we take some flowers. That's all we are taking. But a pujari is not happy with that. He wants to do the whole lamba chauda, pura, till he doesn't start sweating. Now we come to the 28th shloka of the 9th chapter. Shubha shubha phalai revam mokshase karma bandhanaihi sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mam upaishyasi. He says in the 28th verse that then you shall be free from the bonds of good or bad deed. Then if you remain intent on yoga of renunciation, you will come to me. See, these are all secrets. If it clicks, it clicks. Otherwise, keep studying again and again till it clicks. And frankly speaking, what he is telling here is not something hi-fi, a deep. It's not a secret which is hidden. It is an open secret. It's oxymoron. Open secret. It is available. You are seeing it everywhere happening, and yet you are not recognizing it. So what is that? He says here, then you shall be free from all bonds of good and bad deeds. Who does good and bad deeds? Who is identified? But he who has offered everything, yad karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhosi, dadasi yad tapasyasi. So everything he is offering at the feet of the Lord, his disposition is remembering the Lord even while those actions are taking place. Will there be any precipitation of guilt? will there be any precipitation of that I am doing it? That is what is being, the Lord is trying to cancel in our mind. Where I come in between that I am doing it, then that doer will always, whatever action he does, it will result in joy or sorrow, good and bad, guilt or anxiety, expectation. It will only, and any action you do, first thing that happens is, I like this action or I don't like this action. I like this or I don't like. I like the satsang or I don't like the satsang. I like this food or I don't like this food. And that like and dislike then results in the joy and sorrow in our mind. But this like and dislike is not for the Lord, it is for the individual. And when this individual, he is watching that the actions are taking place by the grace of the divine, so his attention is on the divine, then whether like and dislike is appearing in the mind, he is seeing that also as an expression of the divine only. For some time, joys and sorrows will also appear. That also he sees as divine Leela only. And slowly, over a period of time, his attention is more on the divine and less on what is the divine expressing as. See? And this is the way, this is the best way the Lord says to purify yourself. Here he says very clearly, moksha se karma bandhanaihi. One becomes, moksha is free, freedom. Freedom from what? Karma bandhanaihi, freedom from action. Freedom from the clutches of action. Freedom from the doership of action. We all believe that karma is very important, that we have to do. But my dear friends, if you little bit coolly sit down and observe, you will watch that the thoughts come in your mind. Thoughts are action, it's a movement, it happens of its own accord. The breathing happens of its own accord. The speech happens of its own accord. The body action, it happens of its own accord. But to recognize this, recognize that it is all happening of its own accord, and this idiot called ego takes the ownership and says, I am doing the action, I am breathing, I am speaking, I am thinking. This wrong conclusion that this individual has come to cancel that. If we are looking for happiness, if we are looking for tranquility, everyone is doing that, whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not, everyone wants to be at peace, everyone wants to be joyful and happy all the time. And that's what prompts us, because we think that the world can give us. So we keep doing different things in the world in order to gain that joy and happiness. But here the Lord is saying, focus upon me. These actions are happening by themselves. If you get attached to karma, you will fall into the loop of birth and death. If you will fall into the loop of joys and sorrows and joys, because both of them will not last for long. Some actions will give you joy. After some time, that joy will go away because that action will stop. Then, same action. For example, after every class she makes some nice things. I don't know what she has made today for prasad. So if we take a little bit, oh my God, what a wonderful! It's an action. Now you'll be all waiting for what she has made and not concentrate here. So you will start eating that, whatever she has made. Wonderful. Once, twice, 3 times, maybe wonderful. Oh, you love it so much, you keep eating more out of greed. Because I will not get it again, I don't know when she makes it again. After that, what happens? A stomach ache. Then you, oh my God, why did I eat that? Now that smile, that sparkle in your eye which was there before, You ate, that is no longer. So that same object before was a source of joy for you, and now it has become a source of sorrow. And this loop we fall into if we take the ownership of action, because ownership of action precipitates in likes and dislikes, which eventually leads to joys and sorrows. And as long as you are in joys and sorrows or likes and dislikes, you are at a, you don't know what is, you lose the plot of life. You don't know what is hitting you. You don't know what is, why am I feeling this way? Why this is happening to me? Why? Give up the ownership. How long? Give it up for 1 month. They say 12 years. Start with 1 month. Sadhana takes 12 years. But there's no, what do you call, thing that you have to do it for 12 years. Maybe you are a ex-seeker from last life. Huh? You're just waiting for the right moment to suddenly trigger off. So many people it happens. They find their purpose of life. Some people find it when they are young. Some people find it when they are teenagers. Some in their youth. Some when they are in their middle age. Some when they are very old. You know Prabhupada of ISKCON? At age of 62 he found his purpose. At age of 62. He gave up his family, he gave up his children. He said, this is what is written here. What is that? Sannyasa yoga yuktatma. Once you have discovered that it is the Lord, he had been doing sadhana. He had been doing the Nam Japa. He took sannyas. And within 12 years, 62 to 74 or something like that, or 60 to 72, he created such a huge movement all over the globe. In 12 years. And in that 12 years, he came to the Hanuman temple opposite the Lal Killa in Delhi, and he wrote the commentary on Bhagavad Gita, he wrote the commentary on, he started writing the commentary on Bhagavatam, which he completed eventually later. But all that in 12 years, because it clicked. So don't give up. When it will click, only one click is required. Keep hitting, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. Like I teach Sanskrit, nobody comes here for Sanskrit. I teach Sanskrit and there is this Rama, 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 and going through the nominative, accusative, instrumental, dative, ablative, genitive, the different forms of nouns. And it is a bit complicated, it is a bit overwhelming first time when you see it. And everyone, I also struggled when I was young, when I studied it. And sometimes even now, it happens. But you keep at it and some of them, Swamiji, this is very difficult. I said, you just stay with it, just come to the class. 1 month went, 2 months went, 3 months went. Swamiji, still it is not. I said, just stay with it, I am patient, you be also patient. And now, suddenly, for 2 or 3 people, suddenly it has clicked. This is, I understood. Because the whole concept of it needs to reveal itself. It doesn't come, that revelation doesn't come by our thinking. And yet thinking must be applied. Same thing is with the Lord also. We must think of the Lord, we must contemplate on the Lord, but that click will be His grace. So here Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, Mag Agni Kundi Bize Ghatali Tiye Ankur Dashe Jevi Mukali Te Vina Falatichi Maz Arpili Shubha Shubhe Agha Karme Zaiza Urave Te Tahi Juk Dukhi Falave Ani Tayate Bhogavaya Yave Deha Eka ते उगाणिले मज कर्म तेव्हाची पुसिले मरण जन्म जन्मा सवे श्रम चिलही गेले म्हणूनी अर्जुना या परी पाहेचा वेळू नव्हेल भारी हे संन्यास युक्ती सोपारी दिधली तुझ या देहाची या बांधोडी न पडिजे सुख दुःखाची या सागरी न बुडिजे सुखे सुखरूपा घडिजे माझी याची अंगा. Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, just as the seed roasted in fire does not sprout, so all actions dedicated to me do not fructify and bind. All actions offered to me. What does this actions offered to me mean? Just like patram pushpam phalam toyam. Just like before exams we say, oh, Bhagavan, Bhagavan, we offer it to the Lord. Before eating food we say, Om Brahma, Param Brahma, Ye Brahma. No. Or some people say, Sahana Vavatu. Annapurne, Sadapurne, we chant that mantra, some people chant that. So you are offering it to the Lord. Then what happens? Then whatever you are eating or whatever action you are doing, it becomes a prasad, isn't it? Then there's no doership. Then you will do it. Whatever. You never complain about a prasad, do you? That there is less salt, there is more sugar. You take, it is prasad, you just take it and you feel blessed. There is no comment or thought in your mind, I wish they should have put. If your thought is going in that direction, then you are not taking prasad. You are a quality control person there. Huh? Think about it. Similarly, when every action at thought, word and deed level is offered to the Lord, just like we offer patra pushpam phalam toyam, we are offering all these actions, then there is no ownership. Another thing happens, ego functions in two ways. Remember, I told you before. What is the expression of ego? One is doership, the other is enjoyership. What is ego? A ghost, an imaginary, an imaginary entity, which is not other than I, it is appearing. Just like a father. Is there anything called father or there is only man? Is there anything called mother or there is only woman? So where is father and mother? They are imaginations in your head. The roles that you have accept, self-imposed roles, isn't it? Similarly, ego is also like that. And its expression of a father is what? Duty, love, taking care of family, washing dishes, cleaning toilets. What is the job? What is the description of the ego? Doership and enjoyership. And the more it does, the more it feels that, people say we are self-made men. We have done it. Yeah. Very strong ego. Those who are sulking and depressed, very strong ego. Those who are very emotional and want attention seek everywhere, very strong ego. Beware. Don't become mushy with them. You won't know what hit you after some time. This is all ego trips. It is wanting attention. It is wanting control. It is wanting power. Ego can survive only as long as it keeps doing action and it keeps enjoying. When it does a particular action, it enjoys, then it realizes, this action gave me joy, I must do more action. And therefore, whole day from morning till night, you are more action, more joy. More action, more joy. Or at all the levels, body level, speech level and thinking level. The biggest challenge is not physical and speech. It's more mental, because we speak to ourselves the most in 24 hours a day. See? And we think we are intelligent. To cut this, how do we get out of this individual that we feel that we are at the moment? Essentially we are divine, but we are thinking we are individual. How do we get to that? How do we merge into the divine? How do we recognize that we are essentially the divine, which is called God realization? So here the Lord is giving us some techniques. Just as the roasted seed does not sprout, so all actions dedicated to me do not fructify and bind. So what is bondage? Bondage is not the world. Then what is bondage?
Actions.
Attachment to action is the bondage. Feeling that I am the doer is the bondage. Action is not the bondage. You cannot live without action. No person, even realized person cannot live without action. But to feel that I am the doer of the action, that is the bondage. Oh, but realized masters also say, I am doing this, I have to go for a walk, I have to go to the loo, I have to go to sleep, I have to give a lecture. But their definition of I, their understanding of I is different to our understanding of I. That is the difference. Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, otherwise, if an action has to bear fruit in the form of pleasure and pain, then one has to take the recourse to a body to expiate it. If that action is surrendered to me, he escapes rebirth and along with it the trials and tribulations of life. Therefore, lest you should lose time by deferring the action till tomorrow, I have disclosed to you this simple way of renunciation. So this is the renunciation. To the exclusion of everything else, even while everything is going on, put your attention on the divine, on me. You should not therefore fall into this bondage to the body or immerse yourself in the sea of pleasure and pain, but by resorting to this path, merge yourself in my blissful being. People say it very intensely and very, you tell them to but what is the point of living life if there is no spice, and the spice of life is the ups and downs and the joys and sorrows and the likes and dislikes and sometimes being angry and sometimes being jealous. These are all spices of life. Tathastu. So be it. What can you tell that person? If that is how they feel, then they are never going to be able to come out of it, because that is their conviction. If we are, as a child, we have continuously grown, we have continuously matured, we have continuously taken in knowledge day after day to become a better person. Why stop now? Isn't it? Why stop now? Why we have to feel that everything that there was to learn, we have learned? Oh, we are 50 years old, we are 60 years old, now it is very difficult. No. See? It is not so. Learning is a lifelong process. It will stop only when we merge into the divine. And if we have not merged into the divine, then our learning has been going wrong somewhere along the way. It is not in the right direction. That's why the merging is not taking place. So in this way, the Lord is impressing on our mind that we should think of Him in spite of all the actions. Then continuing in the next verse, Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshyo stiti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mahite teshu chapyaham. Beautiful. I am the same to all beings. None is hateful or dear to me, but those who worship me with devotion, they are in me and I am in them. Aha. Yeah, I've given you this example before, that a mother gives attention to the child when the child demands attention from the mother, isn't it? But is her awareness what the baby is doing Is he, hope he does not fall from the bed, or one eye is always on the baby, isn't it? But she will give that child special attention only when that child demands. How? By crying, by calling her out. Exactly the same way. Here the Lord is saying, I am the same to all beings, because He alone. It's like water saying to all the waves, I am the same to all beings. But I am in that wave, and that wave is in me. Will depend upon that wave remembering me. Because wave is searching for what? Wave is searching for infinite divinity. What is that infinite divinity for the wave? The waters. And where are the waters? It is its nature. Yet it is searching. Yet it is searching.
Sorry, I'm in a class at the moment. I can't take your call. Thank you.
फोन बंद कर दो, बंद कर दो. See, Mirabai, she went through so many difficulties in her childhood after she got married, isn't it? But her elder sister was getting married. She says, what is this happening? Yeah, she's getting married. I also want to get married. She was only 10, 11 years old. The mother said, how can you get married? You're not grown up yet. No, I want to be married. I want to be married. Her mother said, you will get married to Krishna. Krishna is your husband. Who is my husband? Krishna is your husband. From that day she decided Krishna is her husband. And throughout her life, she considered Krishna to be her husband. She got married to a prince or some rich fellow, and that fellow died within 1 year. Within 1 year of the marriage, he died. The family started thinking that she is a bad omen to the family, and they made her to work like a maid in the house. They used to hit her. They used to make her do all the menial jobs. But she did not. She may be complaining, but she was tired, she was exhausted, she was frustrated, no doubt. But who is frustrated? The mind is. But her disposition, whatever the Lord wants. And then one day while she was washing, one Mahatma comes and gives her that Tanpura. Play this and sing the name of the Lord. And slowly she just... And then before she was afraid of leaving the house, because if they catch her, they will beat her even more. But one day, singing the name, she just walked out. Nobody knew. The Lord's grace was there. And she went through quite whole of North India, met so many Mahatmas. See? All because she knew the Lord is behind. None of those actions that she won't even realize that she has done something. She's walking, she's speaking, she's giving a lecture, or she's blessed someone. All this, an individual say, I have blessed that fellow, I have given the lecture, I have done this, I have done that, because doership is there. But you ask Mahatmas, they will never say, I have done it. No, it's the Lord's Leela. Story over. And they are not telling lies. That is their experience. So here the Lord is saying, I am the same to all beings. None is hateful or dear to me. And therefore, I think it was in last class only we talked about it. Not in last class, it was at Fiji temple. That when Uttara, Parikshit was in the womb of Uttara, she called out to the Lord when she was hit by the Brahmastra. She called to the Lord, Lord appeared straight away. How could he travel that distance? Nothing is impossible for the Lord. Lord is everywhere. He appeared and he said, if I have never loved the Pandavas more than the Kauravas, or if I have never hated anyone in life, if I never taken sides of the Pandavas or the Kauravas, if I have always remained equanimous to everything that I have done in my life, let this child come back to life. And the child comes back. So Parikshit means the one who is protected by the Lord himself. That is the meaning of the Parikshit. See? This should be our disposition. Those who have come to this point, various masters, they are also able to do the same things, isn't it? So here Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, तो मी पुससी कैसा तरिजो सर्वभूति सदा सरिसा जेठ आप परु ऐसा भागु नाही जे ऐसिया माते जाणोनी अहंकाराचा कुरुठा मोडोनी जे जीवे कर्मे करुनी माते भजले ते वर्तत दिसती देही परिते देही नमाश्या ठाई आणि मी तयांच्या हृदयी समग्र असे सविस्तर वटत्व जैसे बीज कणिके माझी असे आणि बीज कणू वसे वटी जेवी ते मी आम्हा तया परस्परे बाहेरी नामाची अंतरे वाचुनी आत वट वस्तू विचारे मी तेची ते आता जयाचे जैसे लेणे अंगावरी आहा चवाणे तैसे देह धरणे उदास तयाचे परिमळू निघालिया पवना पाठी मागे ओस फुलराहे देठी तैसे आयुष्याची मुठी केवळ देह येर अवष्टंभुजो अघव आगवा तो आरुढोनी मडावा मदभावा मजची आतु पांडवा पैठा जाहला. He says, if you ask me what I am ever the same to all beings. The water is the same to all the waves. The gold is same to all the ornaments. The mud is same to all the pots. From whose standpoint? From the ornament standpoint? No. From the pot standpoint? No. From the wave standpoint? No. From the water standpoint. Water is same to all the waves. From the gold standpoint, gold is the same to all the ornaments. From the mud standpoint, mud is the same to all the pots. Similarly, the Lord is saying, I am the same to all the beings in the creation, both inert and sentient and insentient. I am ever the same to all beings without distinction between my own and another's devotee. So, without any distinction for my or other's devotee. From the Lord's point of view, here Krishna is speaking. So if the devotee is of Shiva, he does not discriminate between, oh, this fellow is my devotee, he is Narayana devotee, Krishna devotee, and that fellow is a Shiva devotee. I think I'll bless him more and bless him less. Lord does not discriminate because the Lord knows he himself is Shiva. Shiva is not other than him. Just like you know what? That the father is also you, the brother is also you, the husband is also you. Similarly, Krishna also knows that all the gods are him only. He already told in this chapter before, isn't it? That you do a puja of any god,
Everything comes.
what did he say?
Krishna Paramastu.
Nahin. But whatever you offer to your Ishta Devta or Grama Devta or your any guru or whatever you offer to them, the Krishna says it all comes to me only. It doesn't go to them. But if your attention in your mind is focused on a particular Ishta Devta or a Grama Devta or on a particular guru or a particular god or a particular heaven, that in your imagination it is like that, then when the life is over, life as you know it is over, you will go to that place. You will not come to me, you will go to that place because your mind is obsessed with that outcome. He says, don't be obsessed with anything. Pray to everything wherever you find yourself, but you see the infinite me. And how do you recognize the infinite me? By these type of thoughts, that I am the same to all. Or read the verse number 4 and 5 of this chapter. But those who know me thus, breaking the bond of egoism and worship me wholeheartedly in thought and deed, they do not remain in their bodies even though they appear to be doing so. How beautiful. This is what I told before. Only by thinking about him, he can break the cord of our attachment. He can break the cord of our identification. Identification, where are we identified with? With the body, that I am only this body. And what is the truth? I am the one who is expressing through all the bodies, at all the times, past, present and future. But it is a too big a vision that is being presented to us and we become scared. Oh, ऐसे हो सकता है? Me, like, but when you say me, how can it be like that? You are thinking you as the body, how can you be like that?
True.
That is the problem. The feeling, नहीं, हम तो, the moment, आप तो, Swamiji goes around saying, हाँ महात्मा जी, नहीं स्वामी जी हमें महात्मा मत कहिए, आप महात्मा हैं, हम कहाँ महात्मा हैं. He is addressing the consciousness in that person and you are replying as the body, the individual. Naturally, हम तो महात्मा नहीं है भैया. So that shift has to come about within ourselves. So we cannot break the bondage of egoism by ourselves. We cannot. We cannot. See, when we dream, how do we wake up from a dream?
We come out of sleep.
Huh?
We come out of sleep.
Yes. Some event in the dream triggers us to wake up, isn't it? Something. You may not realize that, but that is what happens. And sometimes if you have caught it, good. That some event in the dream, it triggers you to wake up. Some event in the waking must trigger you to wake up. What happens when you wake up from the dream? You realize dream is an illusion, isn't it? It was all my mind only projecting as the space, air, fire, water, earth, people, rivers, mountains, relationships, husband, wife, children, everything. Bricks, mortar, fire, everything was my mind only, isn't it? And therefore, अरे यार ये क्या बेवकूफ बना रहा था फालतू में. I was getting afraid in the dream. After you wake up, you can come to these wise words, isn't it? Similarly, by thinking about the Lord, the possibility of us waking up are plentifully available. And when we wake up from this waking, we will realize this whole waking world is also nothing but an expression of our mind only. Of our mind only. This is a bit, I'm telling you philosophically, but that mind is what essentially? That mind is nothing but the consciousness, the divine consciousness. The wave is thinking about the waters. Oh Lord, I want to merge in you. Oh Lord, I want to have direct experience of you. Oh infinite waters, I want to realize you. So that mind of the wave is making that prayer, but is that wave already not the water? Already the water. But where is the attention of the wave? On the form of the wave. Where is our attention? On the form of our body. And therefore we are identified with it and we are not able to see the underlying principle that has gone into making up the body, mind, intellect equipment. See? And that revelation to see through this will come about by looking at by remembering the divine. Have you ever seen those 3D pictures? You look at them and you keep looking at them, and suddenly the picture pops out of that thing. It's all dot 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 dot. But if you just look at it, nothing. There's nothing there. But you keep focus. But what you have to do there? What is the trick? You don't have to look at the surface of the picture. You have to go. Your attention should be behind the picture. Your attention should be through that. Then it will reveal. So was it there or not? The picture was always there. Like that. That is outside. Here it is inside. Go beyond and it will reveal. But they abide in my being, and I abide in them, just as an expanding banyan tree is contained in its small seed, which has itself sprung from a banyan tree. That is the bond between us. We differ outwardly in name only, but in truth we consider their inner state. They and I are one. Their assumption of a body is as empty and meaningless as the wearing of borrowed ornaments by a lady. Their body lasts till the end of their lifespan, as a flower deprived of its fragrance by a breeze remains on its stalk. With his self-sense being entirely merged in my being, he has entered my divine eternal self. As long as your attention is on the body, the fear of death, the fear of annihilation, the fear of not being there, that will be there. Teresa is going through that nowadays. She feels, Swamiji, I was just surrendering and I was just getting there and I was feeling that I am going to go, and then you go. Then by mistake, I opened my mind and I saw you. I went to visit her. But that mind is not coming under her control. It requires years of practice. It will not happen just like that. And here the Lord is saying, start ASAP. Why? Why?
Because it is going to take years.
That is one way of looking at it.
It's not easy.
Because you do not know when you are going to die, when this body is going to support the expression of consciousness. Is there any? This is the biggest joke on this creation. When Yudhishthira was asked by the Yaksha Maharaj, what is the biggest joke of in the creation? He said, everyone knows that they are going to die, but they think they will live forever. And when that death is going to come, nobody can tell. But they all think they are going to live a long and hearty life. There is no guarantee. What can happen tomorrow? What can happen from here to going home? Rather than worrying about what will happen now, I have to be careful. No, remember the Lord. Remember the Lord. He is the solace. See, Satya Sai Baba, he used to tell the people, he said, I am God and you are God. I know that I am God. You don't know. The water is telling the wave, I am infinite and you are infinite. I know it. You don't. Why? You are identified with your form. If there is a form, there is coming and going. So this whole process of coming and going is a phenomena. It will not stop. It will not stop. It will continue. Can a ocean ever be without waves? It will always have waves. But in spite of those waves, in spite of the thoughts in your mind, we have to ascertain what we are essentially. And that conclusion can come here, because we are in the process of discovering that there is, in the first 5 chapters, there was an X factor who is making the thoughts appear. Then in the 7th chapter, we meditated on that X factor. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says, I am that X factor. Huh? Then in the 8th chapter, birth and death and how to die and all that, suddenly there was a little bit of deviation. In the 9th chapter, again the thought that what is this S factor? Who am I? The Lord is explaining. And He is not explaining for you to believe that only He is like that and you are. He says you are also like that, so start accepting it. Stop accepting that you are the body. Stop accepting that you are a product of the parents. Yes, you have been born, no doubt about all that. But now that you are grown up, you are able to think, you have a mind, independent mind which can come to conclusions. Start recognizing, start ascertaining that you are essentially the infinite. How to do that? Arjuna asked. He says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, first thing, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. Now he is saying that Yadashnasi, Yad Karoshi, Yadashnasi, Yad Juhasi, Dadasi, Yad. So these are the different ways by which you can think of that X factor, which is not other than the Lord. Which is not other than the Lord. Their assumption of a body is an empty and meaningless, as the wearing of a borrowed ornament by a lady. Their body lasts till the end of their lifespan. See, it doesn't last. Ravana wanted, as the body, he wanted to be immortal. It is not possible. Oh, but I am a wave says I want to be immortal. As a wave I want to be immortal. As water it can be immortal, but not as a wave, because the wave will die. Now, where is this idea of mortality and immortality? Is it there in the water? Is it there in the water? Water doesn't think of mortality or immortality, because it only is. In whatever form it expresses and it is destroyed, it still is. Whether it is as a drop of water, whether it is as a river, whether it is a raindrop coming down from the sky, whether it is as a well, whether it is as a evaporation taking place, water does not feel its loss. It is still as it is. See? But if that water gets identified that I am only this drop, I am only this river, I am only this wave, then all the misery begins. Because it has, what do you call? From infinite, being infinite, it has accepted itself to be finite. And what is the Lord telling us? Hey, finite being, start thinking that you are infinite. And how do you do that? You focus on something that knows that it is infinite. So who knows? Our Guru Maharaj knows. The Lord here, the Krishna, he knows that he is infinite. So if you think of the one who knows that he is infinite and become one with him, you will also become infinite. Simple logic, simple technique. Don't ask but in between now. There's no but in between. It's that simple. Now do whatever has to be required. Every moment, bring your awareness to the divine. Under all sets of circumstances. That's all the journey is. Then whether yoga happens or pranayam happens or doesn't happen, it does not matter. Whether japa happens or does not happen, it does not matter. Whether satsang happens in this manner, it does not matter, because you are continuously in satsang with the divine within yourself. See? Otherwise, we are here. Example Jnaneshwar Maharaj gives is because he's talking to the common people. He says, just like a flower, a bud becomes a flower and it spreads its fragrance for some time, and once it starts shriveling, a breeze comes and it is separated from the stalk. That's its death. We are also born, we are a bud. As we grow, we spread the fragrance of our personality, and one waft comes. Is there any guarantee that that flower will live its whole span till the last moment? Any time the wind can come. It has got no control over the wind. Even though it is firmly stuck to the stalk, yet the wind, if the force is too strong, it can be separated from the mother plant, isn't it? And that's its death. So is our case also. What will come next moment, we don't know. I leave that imagination to you. But if you have to imagine the divine. Don't imagine the various outcomes that are possible, because they are not going to serve any purpose. And that's the prompting of the Lord to us seekers. Continuing in the 30th verse, he says, Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam anyabhak sadhureva sagan mantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha. In the 30th verse he says, even if a person of vilest conduct worships me and none other, he too must be reckoned good, for he is rightly resolved in his... What do you mean by it? He has rightly resolved that even at that moment, if he has come to surrender himself, if he's a murderer, he's a killer, he's whatever, a thief, he's a swindler, but if he has come to this point that he says, no, I have come to the Lord now, then he must be considered to be, he must be respected and revered. Why? Because he has come to the right conclusion. Whether he has gone to satsang, whether he looks sattvic like you all feel, he has taken shower or no shower, whether he has brushed his teeth or not, whether there is blood on his hand, it does not matter. Ravana at the end of his life was thinking of the Lord, so he became one with the Lord. Angulimal, Buddha was walking, he wanted to collect the 100 fingers, and the last finger, someone said there is one person. Buddha was going around. Gautam Buddha. He went in front of him. Give me a finger. Put his hand up to cut the finger, the hand never came down. And he is trying to bring his hand down. But Gautam Buddha has not done anything. He is the vilest man. Everyone was afraid of Angulimal. But he became a great devotee of Buddha. Became realized eventually. See? Such stories are there. Innumerable stories are there in our, in our script, not just scriptures, but in the culture. You can, if you go into the past, you read mythological stories or fables from the past, you will find in every place you will find these type of stories. So the Lord does not discriminate whether you are good or bad. What does He want to see? What is the intensity of your disposition towards Him? That's all. Lord Kamsa, he is thinking of Krishna. Again and again. He is not sleeping also, he is thinking of Krishna. But he is thinking of Krishna not to merge into Krishna. He is thinking of Krishna because he wants to kill Krishna. So Krishna, for the Lord, it does not matter that you want to kill him or you want to love him or you want to serve him. What is your attitude? Are you thinking of me or not? That is the point. Ravana, when he came to know that all his brothers are dead, till then, from the time he came to know that the Lord has taken birth as a human, in the human form, from that time he has been trying to kill the Lord. He has been trying to kill the Hanumanji. But all that attempts come to a climax in Lanka. But he started thinking of the Lord from that time on. But the intensity kept increasing. Why he did all negative acts? Because he was not interacting with the thought of Ram in a loving manner. He was interacting with the thought of Ram in a destructive manner, isn't it? That's why that expression came out. Meera, she did not think of Lord as the Lord. In Meera's case, her thinking of the Krishna was as my husband. It was not as anything else, but my husband. And she merged into him. And it's a historical fact that she goes into the temple, the soldiers go behind and open the door and they don't find anyone. She merges into the statue. These are not hearsay. They are not just imagined stories. So, what will be your reality? Wherever your mind is stuck, isn't it? If your mind is stuck in the children and family, that will be your reality. If your mind is stuck in, oh, I'm not getting a job, this is what I tell everyone who comes, because whoever comes, they're always in, they're trying to get out of their situation. So stop saying that I cannot get a job, then you are attracting I am not getting a job. Start saying positive. Oh, I'm sick, you will feel more sick. Okay, you know you are sick, now what else? I am healthy. Body is sick, nothing has happened to me. Don't consider yourself to be the body. And as you fall back into your essential nature or to the divinity that the essence is, everything in life starts falling in place. It's like a jigsaw puzzle which you can never solve, yet it gets solved. And you're watching. Because it's your expression alone. But that you realize afterwards. You find yourself in the right place, with the right people, with the right contacts, with the right... whether till we have not realized, till then the joys and sorrows will be there, likes and dislikes will be there, some default processes are coming, and you are recognizing all this, but you are not getting caught up by them. Your attention is on the divine. And in this way, Jnaneshwar Maharaj says here, but those who worship me with devotion, they are in me and I am in them. Nothing to be talked there. You have to experience it in your life. ऐसे भजते नी प्रेम भावे जया शरीर ही पाठी न पवे तेणे भलतया व्यावे जाती चिया आणि आचरणा पाहता सुभटा तो दुष्कृताचा कीरसेल वाटा परिजीवित वेचिले चोहटा भक्तीचिया की आगा अतिचिया मती साचपण पुढिले गती म्हणवनी जीवित जेणे भक्ती दिधले शेखी तो आधी जरी दुराचारी तरी सर्वोत्तमुची अवधारी जैसा बुडाला महापुरी न मरतू निघाला तयाचे जीवित ऐल थडिये आले म्हणवनी बुडाले पण जेवी वाया गेले तेवी नुरेची पाप केले शेवटलिये भक्ती या लागी दुष्कृती जरी राहला तरी अनुतापति थी नहला नहाउनी मज आतु आला सर्वभावे. Here he says, Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, he who worships me with love never resorts to the body again. And this you must be experiencing. You love the sleep, you go to sleep, do you remember you are the body? When you wake up, when in your waking state, if you touch someone, immediately namaskar. If you touch a book, immediately you do prostrate because it is holy, isn't it? But in sleep, because you love the sleep so much, you have surrendered yourself to it. After you are sleeping, your body is on your husband's body, or your body, your leg is on your children. Till they don't complain, you don't know. Till they don't wake you up, you don't know. Some people fall down from the bed, still they don't know. Some people walk in the sleep, still they don't know. Why? They are so deeply engrossed in sleep, isn't it? Similarly, a person who is deeply engrossed in the divine name, in remembering the divine, he also loses body identification. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to do pranayam, we don't have to do yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyaya, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. All this will be taken care of by the God, Lord Himself. This is the beauty of taking the name of the Lord. What is the difference between the 6th chapter and this chapter? In this context, in 6th chapter, the I was still there. I have to make an asan, I have to take shower, I have to practice the yama niyama, I have to sit in meditation, I have to chant Om, blah 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 blah. So many things were there, isn't it? And here what are you doing? Only remembering the Lord. How? Not mechanically. How? Lovingly, with devotion, with love in your heart. That devotion and love towards the Lord is the factor which will flower, which will drop your will drop the identification with the world, with the body, with the mind, etc. And that love will take you and establish you in the lap of the divine. That love and devotion. But it should be exclusive. And whenever you do it wholeheartedly. Even if it is for once, do it wholeheartedly. Do it with so much yearning like there is no tomorrow. Even if it is for 5 minutes, 10 minutes in a day that you are getting. Do it with that disposition. See the magic. Oh great, where are we? Oh great warrior, even if his previous conduct is that of a great sinner, he has taken at the end of the life to the path of devotion, since his understanding at the time of death determines his future life. Therefore, if he has dedicated his life to devotion at the close of life, know him to be the best of all, even though he was dissolute before. So Ravan, at the time of death, Ramchandraji comes, he's lying there, and at the time, Lord is at the top of his head. He says, no Lord, please come in front of me. Why? I want to breathe my last looking at you. And he does not say it out of fear, he is not saying it out of malice, he is not saying it out of sarcasm. He is saying out of true devotion. And therefore, even though he was so evil and crooked in his whole life, but at that last moment, he remembered the Lord with devotion. Oh, so we can be crooked and evil all our life and we can remember the Lord in the last moment? You can't, because neither you know how to live like Ravan or like Hitler. 110% evil. Can you be? That we do everything 50-50. No, 1 foot here also, I should not disturb that also, I should not do this also, I must do the meditation also. We want to have a balanced life. When our attention is on everything else but the Lord, then it will not give us that conclusion. Either, why was he able to remember the Lord at the last moment? Because from the time of birth of the Lord, when the news came to him, he has been thinking about him only in the back of his mind. Because he asked the boon from the Creator that let nobody in this creation, no species in this creation be the cause of my death. So the Creator said, even the man and the monkey, he says, I don't care about man and monkey, they are lower than the lowest. You don't worry about that. He says, Tathastu. So no other god, no other species in this creation can kill Ravana except man or a monkey. And since he came to know that the Lord has taken birth as a man, his mind is fixated. So all his actions are governed by wanting to eliminate that Lord who has appeared as man. What are your actions motivated by? Find out. Are your actions motivated by the will of the divine? Ravana's were maybe in the wrong direction, but the motivation was the Lord. And therefore, with the last breath, he could think of the Lord and devote himself completely when he realizes at that last moment that I was knocking on the wrong door. I was thinking that I can be immortal, but it is not possible. He is the greatest. That it dawns upon him. It is a revelation. See? He is like one who, about to be drowned in a heavy flood, has come out safe. As he has come safely to the same shore, he was not drowned at all. So his previous sinful acts have been washed away by his devotion at the end of his life. So all the sinful acts which Ravana did were washed away by his intense devotion to the Lord Ram. All the killings, the intense evil acts of Angulimal were washed away the moment he surrendered to Gautama, the Lord Buddha. See? That type of disposition has to be brought about. Therefore, if a dissolute person takes a dip in the holy water of penitence, he enters my being through his exclusive devotion. So a person who has got no other way, there's no other opening for him in his life. Who is a dissolute person? Who has got no other support left anymore, isn't it? Ravana was like that. Kamsa was like that. Have we come to that point, or we are still beating our own glory? I got enough money in the bank account. I got my few properties. I got this. I got that. As long as this feeling is there, the I is still there. Or if all this is there, but your attention is on the divine, and you see this all as an expression of the divine, whether it is there, it does not mean anything to you. If it is not there, it also does not mean anything to you. Because most important ingredient in your life is not what you possess, but your relationship with the divine in your heart and mind. If that is clear, then let it then whatever is unfolding, let it unfold. That does not matter. Does not matter after that. And this is what Lord is looking for in everyone. He is looking for exclusive devotion. He's looking for an undistracted, undeviated love and devotion from you to Him. That's what He's looking for. If that continuous stream of your devotion towards Him begins, then He starts His journey towards you. Even though He's already there, but now His attention starts coming towards you. I gave the same example. If the child calls out, "Mummy," mummy says, "हाँ सुन लिया, लेकिन attention नहीं दिया." "Mummy," still she says, "हाँ, what is it?" And then again starts doing. So attention has been given, but it is. And when he starts complaining or crying or is screaming away, then what do you want? "I want hungry." Then she gives 100% attention. So same way we have to grab the attention of the divine. And divine is not separate to us, but we feel it is separate, therefore this interaction with Him. These are various stages of the mind. Dharana is remembering the divine with lot of disturbances in between. Dhyan is remembering the divine for a long period of time, but the disturbance comes after a long period, but it comes. Samadhi is a merging into the divine, not completely, it's being absorbed into Him for temporarily. See? It has not become sahaja yet. So when you wake up from Nirvikalpa, the world is still there, and the feeling that I want to go back into Samadhi is still there. See? So these are the Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. We understand them as actions to be done. They are not actions; they are state of minds. Pratyahar, Dharana. Even if you start from the beginning, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Prana. These are all various stages of the mind only. Because without mind, you cannot do all these things. Continuing. तरी आता पवित्रतयाचे चीकुड अभिजात्यतेची निर्मळ जन्मलेयाचे फळ तयासीच जोडले तो सकळही पढिन्नला तपे तोची तपिन्नला अष्टांग अभ्यासिला योगूतेने हे असो बहुत पार्था तो उतरला कर्मे सर्वथा जयाची अखंड गा आस्था मजची लागी अवधिया मनोबुद्धीची राहटी भरोनी एकनिष्ठेची पेटी मज माझी किरीटी निक्षेपिली जेणे. He says, then his family becomes pure, noble and spotless, and he himself attains the highest goal in life. So one person, one devotee in a family brings blessings on other people in the family also. And we see this in the life of Namdev Maharaj, the small boy. His parents got the darshan because of his devotion to the Lord. He is to me like a learned person who has practiced penance and the eightfold discipline of yoga. He who is full of devotional zeal for me crosses the sea of worldly life and action. For all his acts of mind and intellect are offered to me with single-minded devotion and self-surrender to me. Have you heard of Anandamayi Ma? If not, you can Google. You can see some YouTube clips also of her. She gave up her life. She took samadhi, not gave up her life. She took samadhi in mid or late 70s. Huh? You see her from childhood continuously in the bliss of the Lord. Continuously. Her parents got her married, still in the bliss of the name of the Lord. She used to sit in samadhi for hours, sometimes days. I don't know what happened when she got married, but eventually the husband also became her disciple. Husband also became her disciple. Ramakrishna Paramahansa continuously thinking of the goddess Kali. In his sleep, in his dream, in his waking, he is seeing Kali all the time. Deep devotion. Deep devotion. Whom do we see if we close our eyes? Pizza. Movie. My darling wife, my darling husband, my bills, my home loan. What do we see? Or by default, without your thinking, the love for the divine, the gratitude for the divine, that he has given us this life, an opportunity to remember him, bringing people into our life who are like-minded. They also prompt us to think of the Lord more and more. See, there was one we are doing in Bhagavad. Krishna Bhagwan has entered into Mathura Nagari first time. Kamsa has called him, and when he walks, he comes across a person. He's Sudama Mali. He's a Mali. Mali is a florist. So he says, "Oh Lord, you come, and he takes him inside his shop and sit down, and the best flower mala he puts around his neck, on the Balram and all the Gopas. Lord is very happy. He says, ask me, what do you want? When Lord is happy, he will only ask you, what do you want? He says, oh Lord, I don't want anything. I don't want moksha, I don't want liberation. All I want is I want devotion to your feet should never become less, and in my life till I am there, let all people who are your devotees come into my life. So we together collectively sing your name with love and devotion. The Lord becomes so happy. He says, Tathastu, and I give you more. What? He says, I give you wealth. I give you that wealth which will increase with every generation of yours. He did not ask for that. He only asked for the devotion of the Lord. See? And Lord blessed him with so much. And in this way, here we see the Lord is only looking at your devotion, your love, your intensity of His remembrance, your surrender to Him, your surrender does not mean you are surrendering your head. Surrender initially at this stage, you surrender all your actions to Him. And where are the actions? At the body level, at the speech level, and at the mental level, thought level. Surrender them again and again. In a day, if we were to begin with, as many times as you can remember that all the thoughts are coming not because I am thinking, they are coming by His grace. If He did not express as life through this body, thoughts would not be there. Satsang will not be there. The right environment will not be there, because realization, merging into the divine, is possible only through human birth, not through any other birth. Only through human birth. So don't waste this human birth. And this is the technique that the Lord is giving. And continuing after that, we will see in our next class. क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शाश्वत शांति निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्त प्रणश्यति. He says, such a person who has zealously, single-pointedly, devotedly is thinking about me and contemplating on me, he soon becomes righteous and finds everlasting peace. Be assured, O son of Kunti, that my devotee does not perish. So we try to, as long as you are thinking of, if you are a liar, you will keep, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, it's time. As long as you're thinking you are a liar, you have done wrong things in your life, you want to be truthful. If you have been violent, you want to be non-violent, isn't it? If you are jealous and you know that is your tendency, then you want to be non-jealous, isn't it? If you are unspiritual, you want to be spiritual. And you can remember, I have to tell the truth, I have to tell the truth, I have to tell. But it's a big burden that we are carrying on our shoulders to be truthful. It's a big burden. It's a big burden we are carrying on our shoulders to be non-violent. Inadvertently, insects, animals, etc., do get killed from us, isn't it? And then we feel guilty. And then again, the moment you feel guilty that, oh my God, this happened, again we are in the loop of in the individual loop of life. That I did something, I have to repent for it, blah, blah, blah. So here the Lord is saying, you think of me. Then automatically your mind is weaned away from all this. Whatever shortcomings are there in your personality, whatever shortcomings are there, just like in Angulimal, Ravan comes, Shishupal, etc., etc. Whatever shortcomings are there, merely by remembering the name of the Lord, remembering the divine with loving disposition and devotion, the remaking of the personality begins. Where is the personality? Not in the body, not in the breath, it is in the mind and intellect. Once you become convinced that Lord is the reality, that conviction now guides. In the light of that conviction, everything is taking place, and everything, because right now all the actions are in the light of ego. When your mind is more devoted to the Lord, then all the actions are in the light of the divine Lord. Then the quality of those actions, they may be the same actions, but the quality of those actions is different. Ammachi also eats, Ammachi also walks. We have seen so many Mahatmas in our life. They walk, they speak, they scold, but their quality of, there is something different. There's something different. There's something divine. There's no, correct? So let's aspire to what? To become devotee of to be the devotee of the Lord. Yes, I am telling you that wave is already water. That water is the Lord. That wave is already the ocean. That is where we are coming to. Coming to water will be later on. Right now, ocean. All oceans are in water. So, this way, an overhaul of our personality has to be brought about by changing our convictions. And those convictions, rather than taking ownership of changing the convictions, we just remember the divine and allow the divine to change, to express in whichever manner, and let him overhaul our personality. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Just sit quietly for 2 minutes.